NiP. An El Clasico, if ever there was an El Clasico. I adore watching these two teams face off against one another, and we are privileged enough to get to see just exactly that here and now today. Kafe going to be the first map inside of this best of three. Already seen it once today. That could indicate a little bit of a trend. It's something that we've theory crafted over the last couple of weeks. Teams are more willing to come to this map. And that certainly is being proven so far, as we are only the first day inside of this weekend, and already you just get the feeling it's going to be a fairly Kafe-based weekend, as Consulate used to be the mainstay for the Copa Elite 6. The bans as they have come through: Flores, Thatcher, Valkyrie, and a mirror. Seeing the mirror removed here, Demo, it was something you commented on back in Game 1 today when we saw FaZe and Malvinas.
Yeah, again, just very, very strong operator who can shut down the kind of default standard piano take for the top floor defense. I've also seen teams where you look at the top floor bomb site and you set up, appropriately as well you would, and teams would actually then, for their reading site, set up the exact same way. Because essentially, what you can do, Ollie, is you can defend top floor and reading the same way. With some minor adjustments, but it kind of plays out the same way. Because most of the time, the attackers will attack reading and the top floor the exact same way, which is taken from red stairs into piano, move across and try and go for a plant. Then obviously it's reading, move across, do some vertical action, and then go for a plant. In the Finca Iana again, which is, I think, quite a common kind of occurrence that we've seen in the past. A lot of LATAM have been running the Finca Iana.
Good old Finca Iana. Seen plenty of that so far in terms of the regular stage. Nice to see it cracked out again now. Plenty of nades is going to be the order of the day. Given what you're going to be going up against here, you've got double catches, both the Jaeger and the YMI being played here by NiP. Top floor take, of course, required. You've got to give the bit of an advantage here to NiP, just given how long it takes to get to that roof safely and to really start to be in a position to move as an attacker. Liquid really going to be pressed for time here with so much to burn. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that utility as well. Those laser gates, the magnets, everything really looking to slow down as much as possible. Wonder if that's Palu on the window. It usually is. He loves that south rappel.
Like your back. Yep.
There he is.
As the flashes, so can burn up ADS's while my disc, and then potentially a nade could get threaded through. It looks like Reset's having some issues though with a renegade that was burnt out. Is now going to be redeployed by someone. Don't know who it was, but someone. They should be able to get rid of it again. They have plenty of utility. This is where I think Finca and Iana just gives you so much utility to burn free all in. It is very difficult. Reset's even going to go for the swing, and that is extremely boisterous from him, but he's managed to stay alive. We see trades come out. Will be Neskin, and he also gets taken out, and then Pino, he's gone also. How has he got away with that swinging? I'm baffled by that.
Very bold. Moosey's been caught lacking there, hasn't he? And he's really paying the price for it now as he feels the pressure coming in. He's still got the shield to play behind, but that's going to get burnt. And the Vulcan shield chunks him down significantly. A couple of shots in the back as he's running away as well. And he's left on one. Still enough for him to be able to find a headshot over onto Ask. Nade gets burnt from Reset, so he tries to pressure in onto the freezer. A lot of chip damage going in here onto NiP, but nobody can land the finishing blow. Kamikaze swings and finds himself too. And PSK left as the last remaining player. The diffuser cold, in position to be picked up, but 25 seconds on the clock and 4 kills to find. It's not going to be a favourable situation that he finds himself in. He has been able to recover the diffuser, but he's got players dug in deep. Psycho in the freezer, looking like one of the more likely candidates at this point, but no, it's going to be Julio as he sits with a swing from Cocktail, threads it through freezer, and is able to take down PSK.
So much utility that Liquid had to go through, Ollie. We've seen the Aruni gates, we've seen the ADSs, we've seen the Wamai the Goyo shields. My oh my. You know, what more can Liquid do? Just so... Like, what is that? 4 Wamai discs, 3 ADSs, 3 Aruni gates, 2 Goyo shields, and a partridge in a pear tree. That's what they had to go through.
Yeah, you got to feel for Liquid in that circumstance, because they just got themselves into that position where they had no choice but to boldly push. And we even questioned the repel in. The repel in wasn't even safe. There wasn't a lot of pressure coming in from the skylight. Okay, it's very risky. But when you've got players in freezer, you need to deal with them somehow. Liquid just getting caught out there on that attack, and NiP very nicely patient. Oh, sorry, very nice and patiently played round for them. Kamikaze putting the heat on at the right moment. Great double kill that he found on the swing. Liquid caught flat-footed, not looking at the angle. You've got to keep that an eye on Pixel. If you've got nobody holding the corridor, you need to know if somebody's going to be challenging you from that Pixel angle, because it's just devastating, as was demonstrated there. For NiP, rinse and repeat. And they want to hold the top floor again, and they were successful last time. There's nothing to say they won't be this time as well.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with the reading. Teams will defend it the exact same way. You know, with a couple of minor adjustments, of course, because you have to try and still defend the actual bomb sites, but you can leave 2 players downstairs, and then the rest of them can just go upstairs, and you can see the setup, Ollie. They have Aruni'd off a lot of the windows in towards Piano. They've also brought Vigil and Mozzie now, so they're kind of still with the same ideology of what they're trying to do, but now they make it a lot more difficult for Liquid to really pinpoint positions. The information from Liquid was fine. It's just the fact that there was so much utility that they had to go for. They physically couldn't. So now it looks as if NiP are going to change up their ideas and really try and waste the time. Because, I mean, it makes sense. This is an offsite hold at the end of the day. It would make sense to waste time.
Well, NiP don't have to try too hard on this map to be able to do that. Minute of play already gone, and we've still got players struggling to get themselves in. PSK going to be holding an angle there through. Resets. On that piano repel. Kamikaze. That's a chance here. We've got Psycho playing on the Vigil as well. Muzi on White Corridor, so a significant presence of NiP upstairs. You do just worry about how much info is actually available here for Liquid. The C4 going to swing and miss on Spalu. Muzi being pretty ambitious there with that attempt, I think. Slowly, players from NiP are going to start dropping off, but 1 or 2 do remain. Kamikaze in a dangerous position. He's going to find himself a freebie there as he eventually does manage to finish off onto Nesk. Balcony broken, so he can just drop straight back down. That's what NiP were looking for. Just a little opener. Nothing too much. Nothing greedy. Just getting themselves a tiny advantage there, and then looking to press.
Yeah, just some drabs as much as they can, and NiP kind of backed off just a little bit. Still 1 roamer upstairs, and really stuck inside a freezer. Muzi finds another one. NiP set up nicely to take this second round, and Liquid don't really know what they want to do now. Walking in blind, and Psycho will find an absolute freebie on to ask. As if this round is almost said and done, Ollie, unless Polu and PSK can pull off something incredible. It's going to be very unlikely. Still a boatload of utility up from NiP. You have the C4s still in hand. Ollie knows to find one, and lovely little shot on the Psycho. They do have the upstairs control, but really at what cost? 20 seconds to go. 2v4. Where are they gonna go? Opening from that C4, see if he can find anything. Has a yellow ping, but can't really play off it as best as he can. Olu tries to open up with the scouting key, but time is slowly ticking down. We do see Julio go down, but Pino is there with the refrag, and now PSK has it all to do, but he doesn't get close. NiP walking out. Lot better from NiP.
It's got to be frustrating from Liquid's perspective to see what they're actually able to do when they get themselves onto site and when they catch NiP and they manage to corral them up a little bit like that. Obviously, NiP playing differently there because of the advantage that they were given in terms of the man count. But still, it wasn't a round that was an entire write-off. And if there was another minute in the round, you would see Liquid have a much better chance there at being able to further break those engagements down. As it stands, they struggled. The opening kill is something where they've struggled consistently in the 2 rounds that we've seen so far. And the time, they are being punished dearly on time. Palu, for all that he's spending a bit of time out there on the rappel, he's realistically only watching his own run out there because he's never really in much of a position to watch through the window because it's too vulnerable. He can be C4'd, he can be shot, he can be taken out, etc. You've got to question some of the time saving and find out where some of this time's being spent from Liquid and where you can pull more time from and maybe give more time to another area, because it is the thing that's slowing them down the most at the moment. NiP know that, and they're playing into it beautifully. All they're doing out there on the roam is wasting that time, and they're doing a great job so far. 2 clean rounds downstairs to the bakery. This is the site really where you want to be looking to pick up a round as an attacker. It isn't the kind of site to defenders. Regardless of the way that it's set up, it can just be a little bit of a tricky one to try and keep a hold of. Historically, when we've seen Liquid attack it, we haven't really seen them go for vertical. So I'm expecting a pretty direct approach here.
Does rely very heavily on the shoulders of the player inside of VIP and Restaurant doing their job, because Liquid look as if they're going to try and set up to attack that side of the map and force their way in and really establish good control of almost, I would say, half of the kind of bottom floor. Obviously, bakery isn't really something that they're interested in at the moment, so that is completely free to NiP, but I don't think Liquid really care at this stage. Liquid are kind of doing the reverse of what we normally see. Usually teams would go above Ollie, start doing some vertical action in towards Train and in towards Fireplace, and then rotate to VIP and Restaurant. But it looks as if they're going to try and do VIP Restaurant first, and then maybe go upstairs, or maybe just push in the side. I don't really know what Liquid are thinking.
We're going to have to try and deal with Julio at some point. Flash and a nade go in there, but don't do too much damage to him. The yokai drone is removed. Julio's going to have the information, but without the drone, it's going to be difficult to really act upon that. Finkstim to remove the stunning effect, and the first kill going in Liquid's favour. Ask shuts down Muzi, even a big player so far. Could be a hop in here on the cards from Recess, but no, he just gets full white and taken out by Kamikaze, who's holding a really long angle. Julio here being covered nicely by the Echo.
Great teamwork, right?
Julio's the bait, and everyone else is just singing to his tune at this moment in time.
Yeah, they're catching fish, Ollie, aren't they? And see if any other Liquid players want to try and take that dive, but Julio is as safe as can be. As safe as can be with the double cover from the other NiP player. Never mind. Never mind. That's a fish that got away from them there, Ollie.
It is. They've gone fishing with a stick of dynamite there, and they found Julio. It's the second kill on the round for Liquid. It gives them a bit of an advantage once again. Not got a lot of denial to wade through here. Pino's C4 has been spent. We've seen at least one of the yokai drones shot out, and I imagine the other's been dealt with as well. Now it's going to be a bit of a single doorway push. As a bit of info's gathered there from Ness on Iana's clone. PSK works off the back of it. Takes Pino down, and now the flood comes in. Psycho scrambling through prep, trying to get himself into a position to do something about this. And the vertical pressure coming in this time. Great shot there from PSK. Will be traded 1 for 1, though, as Psycho manages to land before he falls. Psycho down. And Kamikaze is going to be the only player left. Ask looking to try and put the plant down. The vertical pressure coming in this time from Palu as well. And with the plant down, it's going to be very difficult from here on out. 1 versus 3 and a diffuser to disable. Kamikaze not being given anything here by Liquid, and nor should he be. Nesk shuts him down from the freezer. Great round there from Liquid. Particularly love the vertical that Palu was able to provide.
Yeah, so reverse from Liquid in terms of how they played that attack, but all credit to them, it worked. There was times, Ollie, where we kind of looked that the holds inside a cope that NiP were doing were set up nicely, and Liquid, oh, what do you do? What do you do? That nade perfectly executed from Liquid, and I actually think it was the Iana walked down long bar and it threw the nade from the cope door onto Julio instead of the window, because we've seen the window didn't really work. They couldn't get an angle on it because Finke had tried that previously. So a good adaptation from Liquid, and they managed to get that kill. And as soon as that cope player dies, it just kind of opens up the map, and then the vertical pressure comes in. You can't sit anywhere in kitchen, and it's the easiest plant you'll ever get if you're Liquid.
Well, they did just exactly that. They've won in the offsite, but to be truly successful on Kafe.
They need this round.
They need something else. They need a round from elsewhere. Demo, are you seeing what I'm seeing, my good friend?
I am. And
scary.
If memory serves me right, this has been a strategy that they've pulled out before. I think I do remember them using this same strategy.
Yeah.
At Invite.
It's a sexy cake special. This strategy.
It was Sexy Cake who had previously been on this operator, and Liquid played this round extremely slow. Like, they played it as if it was just a basic default, you know, take in towards reading, take red, and in the final few seconds, as the diffuser's going down, and Amaru, under the cover of all the noise, everything, you know, defenders scrambling around trying to stop the diffuser, swings in towards that new belt and just shuts it all down from that position. The only issue that I would say that I fear for Liquid is trying to take red and piano has been very difficult, as we've already seen. With this utility lineup that NiP have brought to the table, taking red and taking piano is a much more difficult job than just saying, oh, that's what they're going to do. It is very, very tough.
It is. Liquid do need to try something, though, and it's nice that they're doing it with Palu. I commented that he's spending a lot of time on that South Rappel, not really achieving too much, so it's good to see a bit of a change coming in there. But still, the same problems remain for everything else. The same problems remain trying to take into that piano, as you've mentioned. They're going to sail down there from resets, no doubt to deal with utilities. Super long angle being held there from Pino. It's going to be Psycho to open up onto PSK. Cheeky jump out. I don't really want your Nomad being jumped out onto like that. Psycho going to get away with that one for free. Not sure if PSK is going to put any significant air jabs down either, given that he was actually on the rappel when he fell. Maybe there was one in between the two windows, but ultimately it's going to come to nothing. It's not going to save him or anything of that nature, and there's no further flank protection for his team. Palu going to be waiting in position, and he's really just sitting and waiting for the call from Ask or Resets as to when he needs to try and push through. Utility jump coming in, and you know that it is going to be soon. You hear the Amaru and you see him fly through. Pino none the wiser. Eventually gets the heads up. Brief fires on, but it's not enough. Palu grabs himself too. Removes the Goyo inside of the freezer. Tries to put some shots in onto Psycho, but just can't quite find the angle. His teammates have dropped, and they've been successful in getting themselves in. Great Goyo burn there onto Kamikaze. Nesk with the flank. Tries to be the difference maker, but immediately is shut down. Muzi picked up. Equal 3 versus 3. Been a scrappy old round. Palu eventually shut down after finding 3. Leveled up at a 2 versus 2. No health to speak of for Kamikaze or Muzi. 45 seconds and a lot of information. Kamikaze takes down Resets and leaves Ask with everything to do. Starts to get the plant down. Still could be live ping information here, just waiting for it to reset. The diffuser has been successful. Ask gets himself in an immediate engagement and is down. Muzi swings through. Kamikaze and Muzi. How did he pull that one off, Demo?
I have no idea how NiP have walked away with that round. That is, Ollie, I'd like to report a crime. I cannot believe that NiP have won that. Liquid played that pretty much the way we expected. Nice and slow. The Amaru comes in, causes issues. My heart goes out to Palu. He's just got 3 kills, and it means diddly squat. It means absolutely nothing. I don't know what the rest of Liquid were doing. At that moment, as soon as that Amaru has swung into that position, you're gonna know that deep sight is clear. You're gonna know that the cocktail bar is opened up. Long bar's probably gonna be opened up, which it was. Why are Liquid then not forcing themselves into the bomb site, getting a diffuser down, and being able to trade out kills? They had the man advantage. I think Nesk, Jesse might have died, but he got a down. Why is nobody else from Liquid jumping on that opportunity? Like, come on. Help them. Nesk and Palu are making these great plays, but the team isn't reacting to it.
You could see in the replays there just what that meant for NiP as well. It really sort of fired them up a little bit. Kamikaze 6-1 right now. The guy's popping off. He really is. He deserves every kill that he's got. Constantly finding himself in very good positions. And that's the really big difference here between NiP and Liquid. The positioning from NiP has been second to none so far. And often Liquid, they're getting caught out. The opening kill going in NiP's favour obviously didn't help too much either, given that there's not even a chance then for PSK to be involved. So already Liquid are fighting from a man down. Palu gets 3 kills, but they're almost exit frags at that point. He opened up the entire cocktail side of the site. And it was all for naught. Going to be a tough pill to swallow. Liquid still need to find some success elsewhere if they're going to be coming up with a more than a 2-4 split on this half. You just wonder where that success is going to come from. Is it going to come from this round? Because there's not really any other option.
I'm starting to worry now from Liquid because look at the position Nesk is in. He's straight into the building and he's walking around, and that to me proves that things aren't going well for Liquid if Nesk thinks that he has to go out and find these kills. Because that's not a good sign. If he's not playing with the team, he's out hunting, playing the solo kind of roam game, going for kills, whatever it is. It's not really going to benefit his team unless he does appear with these kills. Because we know what the entry rule is like, Ollie. You're either going to make or break your round. You're going to make it if you get that opening kill. You're going to break it if you get that opening death. Big risk for Liquid. And it just kind of shows that things aren't going well for them.
And of course, you've got to try and find it. You know, Nesk's got himself into that position. He's currently lurking at the moment, looking to see if there's any opportunity for a rotation or to catch anyone in and around the site. NiP are confident. They're out and about. They're on their own. They don't need to be stacking into the site at the minute because they know how much trouble they're able to give Liquid in even getting into Piano. This round, Liquid have been able to get themselves in. Muzi immediately shut down their resets, able to land the shots. He was more than aware of where the player could be coming from. Now let's see how NiP fight from behind. Pino downed as well. Surely at some point you're going to start dropping off, but
here we go.
It doesn't even seem like NiP are being given that as an opportunity. Palu going to take down Psycho as well, and Nesk, well, he just picks up the pieces. He was hanging out inside a train for the entirety of that one, and is just gifted with a Julio swinging the corner right in front of him. A flawless for Liquid.
Liquid didn't really do anything.
They didn't do anything. They got
just,
kills.
NiP walked to them, and Liquid killed them. That's my analysis. I hope that's sufficient. I hope so.
Thanks for the analysis, Demo.
No problem. Anytime.
We'll head back to the studio now. It was a weird one, wasn't it?
This is a weird game, man. This is a weird one.
The thing about NiP is, have they just got overconfident? Because they've just been caught searching. They've just been caught almost ego challenging everything, just face checking things. They're not really working off any intel at this point. They just roughly know where Liquid are going to be. And that round, it just so happened that Liquid won every single engagement.
I don't know. It just seems as if NiP, they looked so good. And then the consistency that I think we've seen from them throughout the course of the season is just kind of being swept away now. And, I mean, obviously now we go down to Kitchen, which has not been a successful bomb site for NiP. This was a great round being played by Liquid. If Liquid can, again, see out this round and we go evens into the next split, I really don't know who's going to take it. And I think it gives Liquid a very good shot then at starting to ramp up those defensive rounds, because I think we both agree that NiP on the attacks this split have looked dire.
Yeah, it's been an area where they've really struggled.
2020 NiP with the time. Just the time was just never there for them. So NiP kind of need this round.
Well, that's it. Being able to win in anything other than the offsite is good enough for you to be, you know, potentially in the commanding position now as Liquid. You don't need to really worry all too much. You just got to pick this round up on the offsite, same as you did last time. Work around the adaptations that NiP have brought to the table, and then do well on your own defense. A 4-2 split would then be enough. So, the changes from NiP, however, Julio's no longer stacked inside a coat, looking to extend a little bit further out of there, recognizing he was just a little bit of a, almost like a carrot on the end of a stick. And it's not really the position that you want to be playing yourself in. Vertical already here, being established as Palu's going in. Resets, what a swing! Nice bit of drone information for himself there. I'll tell you, he didn't have a kill until the last round, Demo, and now, what's he on? He's on 3.
Yeah, he's definitely woken up for his side, and Resets, obviously the new young prospect that was acquired from Black Dragons only a few months ago. has had some good moments, some very good moments, I would say, for a kind of new environment for him fitting into a new team. He has proven his worth as a valuable player off this side. This is probably where I would say, come of the hour, come of the man, I suppose. This is where I think the two boys need to become men in this game, Ollie.
Strange to see no one from NiP challenging Palu. He's literally been upstairs for the entirety of this round. He's cutting off players. He's forcing rotation. Nobody's there to challenge him. It might not matter, given the couple of kills that have just come in, and the fact that NiP have now been able to level things up. A pre-play C4 is going to go off, but to no avail. Still 2 players inside a bakery, 1 in prep. 50 seconds left for Liquid to start moving on down. PSK is going to be on brown stairs. There is going to be somebody playing near garage, and I don't think they know, as you say. Oh, he's actually inside of the freezer, so they're fairly safe there on the line of attack that they're pushing. But if this culminates in just a double door push, it isn't going to end too well. Palu seemingly unsure as to what the play is there as he starts to make his way down and then rethinks. These are now going to start to be opened. It's going to give Ask something to work with. Is he going to be aware of Muzi? The answer no for the time being. Muzi finds the kill and the diffuser. Pino a second. And it was all said and done at that moment. But NiP, they find the final kill anyway. They level things up. 3 rounds apiece here.
Liquid got really shook by Muzi. I think it went to a 5v3 and then Muzi pulled 1 kill back. And that really stopped Liquid in their tracks. Liquid didn't have any information. Only we seen them moving down in towards Longbar, and they didn't know where to look. They didn't know what they wanted to go for, and I think that kind of cost them was just the sheer information wasn't there for Liquid. And then NiP were able to sit in these uncommon positions, quite similar to what we just seen from Muzi, where he just stands in, you know, positions that, oh, why are you there? But it's actually worked out for him because it's so unexpected. So yeah, very, very well done by Muzi there, who really saved that round and caused a lot of issues for Liquid. And that has got them over the line to a positive split. 4-2, they take the defensive half. But this is where NiP need to dig their heels in, and they need to show us that they have changed. It's not the same NiP that we've seen throughout this season. It is the NiP that we all feared. It's the NiP that we witnessed lift the hammer in Paris and May. We need to see that NiP, or else Liquid will run all over them if NiP are too slow today. NiP need to pick up the pace.
A 2-round lead is going to be a good start for NiP here. But, as we've seen already, Kafe, a cruel map for the attackers, especially in the context of what we've seen today and the 2 games that we've seen play out on it. But they do need to pick that pace up. And who better to pick pace up than with an Amaru? Even if you're not going to fly through a window, at least you can get to the roof a bit quicker, Demo.
That's true. Well, I think NiP will probably do something similar to what we've seen from Liquid. I think that balcony window is just too, it's too juicy looking, isn't it? It's, you know, you just got a big massive steak you just want to bite into, and I think that window is certainly the same equivalence to what Amari wants to try and do. Oh, see a little bit of a different, I think, strategy there from Liquid, is that they've actually opened up a bit of a slit in the window, so you'll actually hear the Gara hook as it gets applied.
A nice little edge that, because Pino was stood literally on the other side of the wall to Palu when he Amaru'd in. And he didn't really have much of a clue until Palu started shooting. Especially if there's other sounds that are going on at the same time, it's going to be fairly confusing. Psycho wastes no time, gets himself straight in, and is shut down. PSK ready and waiting for it, but Kamikaze with the drop finds himself too. Immediately nullifies any sort of retake potential as the plant starts to go down. Kills flooding in. Palu from below, try as he might, he will be unsuccessful. NiP have said, what, you think we take a long time? No siree, we're going to get the plant down in the first half of the round and it's going to be over before the second. Palu on the retake now, 1 versus 3. He knows where the diffuser is, but how much info has he got here? Looking to pre-fire desperately, I would wager none. He's got a bit of a red ping to work from, but Kamikaze is going to secure his 3rd kill on the round, Demo. All under the cover of that Maestro camera that we can see just there on the left of the screen. What a round from NiP. They are not here to mess around.
It's just a completely different species of NiP that we're seeing right now. the fastest take that we've seen from NiP in quite some time, and it has worked a charm. They wasted no time at all. I seen the Amaru swing in him, was thinking, oh, well, probably isn't going to work, and it didn't. The Maestro got shut down straight away. But Kamikaze, the real hero, dropping Skylight of all places. But then, oh yeah, as well as we're praising NiP, how can we sit here and not critique Liquid and you know, how did they let that happen? How? Somebody dropping Skylight? Really? That has been the cause of your downfall?
Yeah, it's sort of Kafe defense 101, isn't it? You know, keeping an eye on the Skylight. Something that didn't help Liquid there, obviously that round you could watch it back 10 times and come out with 10 different things that really happened and were really quite crucial. But Palu had a C4 placed underneath the floor in that balcony area where we saw Psycho and Maru in, and he detonated it. But it was a split, and I mean a split second after PSK had already got the kill. Now Psycho was no longer in that location. And then we see Palu desperately trying to shoot through the floor to deny the plant. Obviously, Liquid's intention there is to, 1, be there to deny the plant, but 2, to be there with the C4 if required to deal with the Amari player if that's a player that comes in. And there was just a little bit of a poorly coordinated circumstance where we didn't quite see exactly what could have been. You know, in a different circumstance, Palu keeps his C4 in his pocket because PSK gets the kill. He's still able then to deny the plant. But then you've got to ask questions of how Kamikaze is able to pick 2 dropping a Skylight. He should get 1 at best and then be shut down.
Well, what do you say? What do you say about Liquid now? They're under a lot of pressure. Keep in mind, this is their map pick at the end of the day, Ollie. This is, you know, all pressure on them, in my opinion. They need this map because go to Clubhouse against NiP, and, well, if NiP right now, where they're showing us that they're back on form, they're back on track with how they're playing Siege, that doesn't bode well for Liquid. So, Liquid they need this map, in my opinion, if they have any hope of getting to the Major.
Could be in for a bit of a long, drawn-out war between these two teams, especially if we end up on all 3. It's early days at the moment. We know the fight that Liquid are capable of. And, you know, we've seen 1 good round from NiP on the attack. We've seen a rush round. We've only seen them attack once, but it was a rush. They can't rush every single time. This is where they're going to have to test their mettle at, you know, being able to play the slow game as well and being able to temper that and actually pull it off in the end, because when they try and take things a little bit slower, this is where the criticism really starts to come in. Already, though, they've been able to get upstairs control. It hasn't cost them anything. Liquid aren't contesting too heavily. C4 from Palu there is unsuccessful. Muzi is on the crouch walk down white stairs. Ooh, I'm not sure if anybody knows. They certainly just got a glimpse then. Ask with the shotgun. A little bit of a warning shot. Come down these white stairs and you will be met with an SAS operator. You will be met with the shotgun. Toxic Babes to cut off that laundry drop. Ask just holding from a little bit further back now. Toxic Babe is just going to cut Muzi off. Not going to deal any damage to him. If it had, it would have chunked him down, given that he was finger-stimmed. But it's just going to cut off the line of sight for the time being. First 2 kills going to Julio. He's able to take down Palu and resets. 25 seconds and Nesk is going to be on the prowl. He's going to find himself a freebie onto Julio, as Julio was just providing a bit of drone information there. But it's no time to be on your drone when there's only 20 seconds left. Drops comes into the laundry. Ask immediately there with the shutdown. Diffuser in Kamikaze's hands, and it is going to start going down. He's got cover vertically as well, but Liquid are on the prowl. PSK takes Muzi down, 2 versus 2, as Pino takes one on to Ask. The diffuser carrier has been removed, and with the sole survivor on the top floor, that round's going to go to Liquid based on time.
Time, NiP, getting away from them. Made a great swing onto that player onto the white stairs. I think that was a monumental kill in many aspects, just to really swing that in favor of Liquid. A real make-or-break engagement. You know, if NiP managed to win that gunfight, then you would have been sat there in a 2 versus 3, and upstairs control not being in favor of Liquid in that scenario. So yeah, massive kill to get. NiP slip up in that round, but still have a couple more rounds that they can work with. Still plenty of breathing room before Liquid really start to claw it back, but think next round might be a big one, Ollie, because this could determine who has the momentum going into the final few rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, we've seen two very contrasting rounds from NiP. We've seen a rush round, and then we've seen a round where essentially they run out of time. They weren't really in a winning situation when that final player was left alive on the top floor. But again, it's a round that comes down to the clock. So they've shown us both sides of the coin, and I think they just need to find the balance in the middle, really, because that's where they're going to likely see the most consistent success. Losing attacking onto previous two sides isn't the biggest problem in the world, but they do need to find a bit of success elsewhere, and the bakery could be somewhere where they can be successful. A pretty similar lineup to what we see Liquid bring for this site. I'm expecting a lot of vertical control, given that you bring in both a sledge and a book here. Maybe that's going to be a bit more of a primary focus for everyone in the start of the round, as opposed to Liquid's option for just sending Palu up there.
I would imagine that NiP would probably go with the early game. I think that's definitely something that afraid to play into. I mean, you look at their lineup, Ollie, they have the sledge, they have the buck, even Ash as well, or breaching charges can do vertical action for you, so kind of all in that front. The only thing I would say that they're maybe lacking would be another set of nades. They have only one set from Pino. Maybe a second would help them out quite a bit. Especially whenever we're dealing with Banshees. Nades are going to be handy to have and try and roll them in as best as you can. Maybe that's where you could switch out Muzi on the Ash, maybe in favor of Pyjamas. That would be the only change that would probably help them out, but still I think it's good enough to do the job. Whenever they're going to go very heavy with the vertical game, I suppose they maybe don't need as many nades as what we're thinking. And maybe it's just got to a point, Ollie, where we're so used to seeing grenades just on, just an abundance of grenades that we're maybe a little bit too used to it. Whereas realistically, you don't really need it that much for this kind of take.
I'd love to know where Ass got that kill from, because we flicked onto him. He was seemingly in the middle of the site. The SMG in hand, so it's an impressive opener regardless. I imagine it was vertically, given that it was onto Psycho. But no book, no problem. There is a sledge and a big old hammer that is going to be able to rip up the majority of this floor. Yeah, Ash breaching rounds going down as well. Could be being used through the floor there to burn utility, or of course just on the floor itself. I think that air job actually went through the joists there in the floor. Not the most ideal. NiP, they're dangerously getting ready to drop that freezer hatch, it seems, and I really do worry about how that's going to go. We know how hatch drops go. Those two kills could open things up a little bit, though, as the drop will come in. A fierce fight now is going to ensue as PSK tries to get the C4 off. It is going to land, but not deal enough damage. Julio takes one on to resets. PSK still inside of VIP. Him and Palu are all that remain. Palu could try and deny this plan, given that he's got the Yokais, but he needs to try and get them in. Oh, he's going to get shot on the rotation. Muzi also picks up PSK. And that's got to be it here. Palu, 1 versus 4. What is he able to do? Vertical is being held. You've got a player in the site, a player over towards Christmas. He's pre-firing. He's got to try and find something. Picks one onto Kamikaze. A nade gets tossed on down just to zone him out a little bit. Still 2 players upstairs to contend with here. Isn't even going to find the first. Julio from on high will take him down. NiP. Well executed freezer take there.
Yeah, it was indeed. NiP. I think Kamikaze has been a real standout player for them this game. In my eyes, anyway. No fear whatsoever. Absolutely no fear in just the way he orchestrates these attacks. Always the first man in. Isn't afraid to die. Isn't afraid to lay his life out. And I think that's what's needed from, your support, who's always going to go in and get those plants down every chance he gets. Let me actually go see his plant stats, because I know it has to be very, very high at this stage. Kamikaze, 23 plants in the season of Brazil, so he's ranked top 5 in Brazil this season. So, I mean, that shows he's all about getting that plant down. He's not afraid to die for his team, and yeah, has definitely been the standout for me.
Yeah, certainly since the Copa Kamikaze has been one that's stood up among the rest. Not that he particularly needed to, given that everyone on the side of NiP had pretty poor stats for Stage 3. But it's nice to see a good equal contribution here. 6, 7, 8, 10 kills. Psycho just lagging behind a little bit on 4, but more providing that flex role. And the pressure on Liquid. NiP sits on a map point. Win here would be enough to take us on to our second map. Pressure firmly on Liquid from this point onwards. They need to play some pretty flawless siege in order to keep in this one. There's only a couple of sounds in this game that I really hate. And that shotgun is one of them. Do you not think it's the most obnoxious gun in the world?
I mean, I enjoy it. I think it's a fun gun. Maybe you're just too sad to understand the gun. Maybe you're just too, you know, so depressing, Ollie. You know.
I understand the gun. I think it's great. I think it's the wall deleter, isn't it? You can just delete things. But I just think it's just obnoxiously loud.
I actually think that might be the loudest thing in the game.
Without a doubt.
Didn't get him a kill last time. It was against the Amaru. Whenever the Amaru swung in towards that new balcony, it was quickly deleted with the shotgun. And oh, Nesk calls for a smoke canister to cover off his retreat. It's a bit of a chunk of damage from it, but still okay. Looking at Liquid's lineup. Not bringing the Wamai and the Aruni is really the only difference that we're seeing in lineup changes compared to what NiP had for the top floor. Liquid have went more with the information approach. We're seeing the Maestro be brought in, which, as we know, is a great operator for Kafe. Probably his best map. Now, with the fact that Consulate's gone, this probably is his best map. So the sheer information you get is great. You know, the top floor is... If you open up a lot of the walls, it's very, very open, and that's usually what happens for defenders, that you will open up a lot of walls, and the Maestro cameras can see everything that's going on, so a great pickup.
Ask first player to fall. Pino in position to take him down. For hard support, Ask finds himself in a lot of entry battles. He got the opening kill in the last round, and this time he's going to be first blood. Not ideal from the smoke. Especially given that NiP are a slow team, you're going to want to try and use all of the slowing factors that you've got to your advantage, but Liquid are going to lose a big one there. Pino rotates himself on through, opens things up. It's a weird way to take into Piano, and it's quite rightly is taken out. Muzi in with the refrag quite literally as Resets falls to the nade. He knows that there's going to be somebody on top of White and shuts down Nesk. It's going to be a headshot and a great one at that. Palu going to be the sole survivor now, as he is all that remains. He knows where the diffuser is. He knows where a good deal of NiP are, but can't do anything. Shut down by Julio. It's going to be map 1 here, going to NiP.
NiP very well deserved of that. Kafe, that is a different NiP to what we've seen this season. I think that has shut up a few of the critics, Ollie. It really has. I think NiP should be happy with how they performed in that map, but still, job's not done. Second map still to go.
It is the first